Hey everybody, what's going on? How you doing out there? It's me, Victor Sarung. I just purchased this cup of Dunkin' Donuts coffee from a location in Hialeah, Miami. The particular location is on Hialeah Drive and Essex Avenue. Now, this cup of coffee, I paid more for it. I paid 11 cents more. The last time I purchased a cup of coffee was in Dorel on 36th Street and 74th Avenue. That cup of coffee I purchased for $2.66. This cup cost me $2.77, an 11-cent increase. Now you might say to yourself, that's not much. It's only 11 cents. What's the big deal? Well, the big deal is that that's a 3.97% increase in the price of the cup of coffee. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to purchase $2.77 in Bitcoin, $2.77 in Solana, and $2.77 in Dogecoin. And after I make these purchases, I'm going to do my calculations and let you know what I come up with. Here are my purchases of the small Dunkin' Donuts coffee. As you can see, on July 20th and July 27th, I purchased one cup of coffee for $2.66. And on August 4th, I purchased one cup of coffee for $2.77, an 11-cent increase. This came out to a total of $8.09 in coffee I've spent so far. Over here, I have purchases of Bitcoin. Now, what I did was, the same amount of money that I spent on the small cup of coffee at Dunkin' Donuts, I purchased that same amount in Bitcoin. Now, my total purchases came out to $8.09. That's the total amount that I spent on coffee. Because of the fluctuation in the value of the Bitcoin, the total amount that I had at the same time that I purchased my last cup of coffee came out to $7.98. So far, my Bitcoin holdings is smaller than the total amount of money I've spent on coffee. Now, because of the price of Bitcoin going down and the price of the coffee increasing, the value of the total amount of Bitcoin that I purchased compared to the total amount that I spent on the coffee has actually decreased. Meaning that the value of my Bitcoin that I have is less than the total amount that I spent on coffee. I also calculated the amount of cups of coffee that I can purchase with one whole Bitcoin at the current market value. As you can see, the amount of cups of coffee, the small coffee that I can purchase has decreased in value. That's because the value of one whole Bitcoin decreased, and also there was a price increase in the cup of coffee. And that shows also in the change in the amount of cups of coffee that I can purchase. So the second week, I can purchase less coffee. I can purchase less coffee, 427 cups less. And in the current week, it went down dramatically. I can purchase 1,118 cups less. That's a lot. And that's because of the combination of the price of coffee increasing and the value of one whole Bitcoin going down. Look at Solana. My total purchases are less than the total amount I spent on coffee. And if you look at the price of Solana, the price of Solana for one whole Solana went down in value. Now, if you look at the value of the Solana that I purchased in total versus the total amount that I spent on the small coffee, the value of the Solana that I purchased in total is 21 cents less than the total amount that I spent on the coffee as of this week. This is even a lot less than my Bitcoin purchase. And that's because Solana tends to be more volatile than Bitcoin. So a lot of times when the price of Bitcoin drops, the price of one whole Solana will drop even more. So this is why you see that I have less in Solana than I do in Bitcoin. If we look at also the total cups of coffee that one whole Solana can purchase at the market value, the total amount decreases. It decreased from 29 cups to the current 26 cups. If you look at the change in the number of cups of coffee that can be purchased with one whole Solana, as of the current week, I can purchase 1.5 cups less than the previous week with one whole Solana. And like I said, that's because the price of Solana dropped along with the increase in the price of the coffee. Now, with my Dogecoin purchases, I see the same trend. My first purchase was for $2.66, and the price was 7.2792 cents, right? And currently, the price of Dogecoin decreased to 7.1015 cents. And the price of the cup of coffee went up. I purchased the same time, around the same time as I purchased the Solana and the Bitcoin, as the time that around the time that I purchased the coffee. And the total amount of Dogecoin has actually went up. That is, the total amount of Dogecoin that I purchased increased because the price of the Dogecoin itself decreased. And the total Doge purchased currently is 112.25 Dogecoins. However, the total value, the total market value currently is $7.97. And it's 12 cents less than the total amount that I spent on the small coffee. Now, if we look at the total cups of coffee that can be purchased with one whole Dogecoin at the current market value, you'll see that it's a very tiny, minuscule amount of coffee that can be purchased. You can currently, as of this week, purchase 2.5% of a cup of coffee. Think about that. One whole Dogecoin can only purchase 2.5% of a cup. So that's a very small amount of coffee that you can drink. That's not even going to quench your thirst. So as you can see from my analysis, the value of my cryptocurrency holdings for each of Bitcoin, Solana, and Dogecoin is currently less than the total amount that I spent for this small Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Keep in mind that currently the cryptocurrency market is in a bear market. So whenever we're in a bear market, cryptocurrencies tend to decline in value and they're cheaper for purchase. When the market starts to go up, switch direction, and perhaps become a bull market, the value of my holdings are going to increase. So you will see that my holdings for each of the cryptocurrencies that I own, Bitcoin, Solana, and Dogecoin, they're going to be greater than the total amount that I spent on this small cup of coffee. In total, you'll see once the market goes up. That means that when the cryptocurrency market goes up, I'll be able to purchase more coffee with the value of my cryptocurrency holdings.